Bismillah. Hey everyone, Jassim here. I wanted to make a Keepa tutorial on how we use Keepa to analyze products. Now Keepa is basically one of the most important tools for Amazon sellers, especially arbitrage sellers. And it's one of the most multifaceted tools on Amazon. It's for Amazon sellers. It's basically has so many features. Of its features, obviously, like I said, analyzing products. You can analyze products in bulk. You can see up here, you can use it to find deals using these certain filters to find Amazon flips for sourcing, basically kind of like how we do online sourcing, but buying from Amazon directly, which we use a lot. You can use it to track products. So basically, if there's a certain item you want at a certain price, I'll get into a little bit of that later. I won't get into it too much in this video. Like I said, the main focus of this video is simply analyzing the products and looking at products individually. You can also use it for data, to find certain products, to view data for certain products in bulk. This is very helpful. For example, if you're doing wholesale lists, you want to do something in bulk, we use this often. Might get into that in another video later. It also has an API. We used this before we built one of our programs, and we integrated it with Keepa's API. It's very cost effective, very useful, and it was helpful for us. But I don't want to spend too much time scattered on all the other features and get into the main feature of Keepa, which is what it was built on, which is primarily the feature of basically analyzing products. So I wanted to this feature right here. So this box right here, this is, if you're an arbitrage seller, I'm guessing you'd spend, at least for us, we spend 80 to 90% of our Keepa use is this page right here. More specifically, maybe you can say, let's see if we can get the ASIN. A lot of times when you're checking the details of an item, so this over here is the data. You grab the ASIN, and just for quick reference, for those who don't know, ASIN stands for Amazon Standard Identification Number, which is basically, you can say, the barcode number for Amazon. Each listing on Amazon has its own ASIN. Each variation has its own ASIN. So over here we can just put in the ASIN and we see the data for Amazon. So I wanted to go over a few products, explain how I read this graph and what I use it. I've looked at over probably hundreds of thousands of units and used this page hundreds of thousands of times, honestly, to look through different products, analyze whether they're worthy of purchasing, how the historical data. So Keepa is going to provide you with the historical data of an item, and accordingly you can make decisions on how it's going to go. Obviously, just like anything, this is a business. I mean, there's risks. It might not stay at the current data that you read previously, but it's a very solid indicator for the future, especially given certain parameters. The longer the history, the more data you have, the more solid and predictable what you will get. Few products actually. Maybe I would like to analyze something with. So over here actually shows all the product. I sorted them from lowest rank to biggest rank, and this page is going to show specifically what they consider a deal on it. But that's not what I'm going to be using it for. I'm just going to be using it for analyzing the product and showing how I read the chart. Alright, so let's see if we can maybe open this. I would like something with a lot of sellers and a large history. So we'll jump into this product and take a look at it. So this is a product where, let's just open it up here. So we'll also open it up in addition to Amazon. So one thing I would like to quickly note before going too deep into it is that Keepa recently, around a year and a half, started charging for the subscription. They charge around 19, so it actually is 19 euros a month, the free version, just to show you the difference. So they charge 19 euros a month. I think it's 189 euros a year, so you save on 2 months. So as you can see here with the not paid version, and it's not just limited to this. So the free version also has limitations on other categories. For example, in the data, you get no access pretty much to the data, which is a very useful category especially if you want to use Keepa for other features which are helpful. But specifically, even in analyzing the product, you're highly limited. As you can see here, you're simply limited to, so for example, even the sales rank, it doesn't show. Mostly they're going to show the stuff. So the free version is made for consumers. So they show the Amazon price history, new price history. A consumer isn't too concerned about sales rank, if they even know what that is. Basically Amazon purchasers, or buy box, or eBay new, all that stuff. And obviously even the more historical data, when you open it up, it doesn't show new offer count, which is very important. I'll get into it why. Used offer count, ratings, or reviews. So all of that is not accessible with the free version. So just quickly to go into that, I just wanted to clarify that just in case unfamiliar. So going back to this page right here, the analyzing page. So at the left side, you see a lot of you see the images of the item. Over here you see the title. So you see even specifications of the specific variation. So this is the color and this is the size. And then over here you also see the ratings and the reviews. So this is referred to as a rating, 4.6. The amount of reviews, 3152 reviews. Okay, so over here we can see the price history and a few data. So I'm gonna start from the scratch and take everything off and do one thing at a time. So in this example over here, I usually like to look at the yearly chart. So let's start with the range actually, start from the bottom, then go back to the top. So over here you have an option for how much you want to see. So right here you have the last day, for example, and then you have the last week, the last month. You can see over here the time frame right under the chart, the x-axis is changing. The 3 months, 1 year, and then all its history since Keepa started tracking the item. And usually Keepa is starts tracking the item recently after it's listed on Amazon. So you can assume that, give or take, it's around the same period that the item came on Amazon. There's more details to it, but I'll just leave that at that for now. And then, so this is all. So one simple question is, what if it's been listed less than a year in Amazon, which is very common, as examples we've seen before. There will not be a year. Instead, it will be all, let's say, 250 days, or even 3 months. There will not be 3 months or a year, and it'll be all 75 days. For example, just something so when you encounter it, you're familiar with it. Personally, I like to keep it at a year. That will give me a chance to see the item going through all of its seasons, especially for seasonal items, toys, clothing and shoes, most of them, if they're summer or winter, and quite a few other options, for example, pools, all that stuff. I also like to look at the year just to make sure the item has a consistent history. The price didn't just recently drop or recently rise. And although if the price has been a year, should give you very solid, because it's a fair rough estimate to even assume a prediction for what's going to come on later on. So first of all, we start with Amazon. This shows Amazon's history throughout the time. You can see it. So over here on the y-axis, we have a range of 40 to 110. The lowest it's ever been at. So you can even come over here and it will tell you the data at the top right there. So the lowest Amazon's ever been at was at $50, which was 2 months ago. I'm looking right at the top. If I can maybe highlight. So we have the lowest was $50 2 months ago. You can see it right on top of this chart. I'm trying to figure out. So you should see it right here. I'm not sure how to keep the drawing, but I'll have to exit it. So you can see that 2 months ago was $50. Right now it's at $67.49, which is also right here. $67.49. New price in eBay. The highest was at $100 61 days ago. The average 90 days was 93, and the average 180 days was, they were both around 92.74 and 93.57. So that's the statistics for Amazon. And over here, you can see the same, it's matching the data over here. And what I like to double check sometimes, because Keepa does have a lag of a couple minutes here and there, so it's not live, but it's updated frequently. So the new price, you can see that so one important detail to note is that this shows you the lowest new third-party offer. So if there's, let's say there's 11 offers on this item, for example, one of them is Amazon, so we're left with 10 third-party new sellers. The lowest new seller, let's say, is $50. The highest is $200. Over here is going to show you that $50 new offer. And not only that, but also if that new offer is $50 and let's say they have an extra additional $6 shipping, Keepa will not show the $6 shipping. So it will only show you it at $50. And that's really important to note to not get confused, because a lot of times this new price could be deceiving. And also, if let's say there's a just launched offer, and they might be a scammer, for example, they could come on in this item for $20 per se, and not even offer the item. So that's something to keep in mind. They just collect the money, they close their account, and they run away with the money. And it does happen, especially on lower rank items. So just something to also keep in mind. So I take this the blue chart with a grain of salt when I see it. And then we have the used offers. This item doesn't have any use. As you can see, it's empty. Let's see if it had any of its history. It did have. Usually if it's here, if it didn't, it wouldn't even show up as one of the options. So that's something else to keep in mind. So over here did have used, which was 47, right around 47. Highest was, but for us, I mainly ignore the used price too. So it's not too relevant. There's customers, what we found at least, in most of the categories. Books is maybe a little bit different because we sold a lot of books, but at least for shoes and clothes and toys and all that stuff, the new has its customers and the used has its customers. It's not too relevant for us. We mostly, almost all of our inventory, we sell in them. Alright, and then we get into sales rank, which is quite the complicated concept, and for something with but however, it's crucial to kind of understand, to be able to analyze products, to understand the sales rank. So basically the rule is, the lower the sales rank, the better. And the sales rank is directly related to the category an item is in. So if I can jump over here, a sales rank is basically a current screenshot of where the item ranks in a specific category. This is the category this item is in: clothing, shoes, and jewelry. And the current sales rank currently is 17,000. So what this means is that this item, not the extra large, I'm talking about this whole listing right here, the whole thing. All these colors, all these sizes, they're all listed under one listing. So this Marmot's Men Pre-Clip Jacket Lightweight Waterproof. And everything under it, just like the reviews are for the whole listing, so is the sales rank. And that's something very important to know. And I'll explain in a little bit why, about how the sales rank, let me just write it down too, the variation is related to sales. So when we look at the item, and we look at the current sales rank, it shows us the average sales rank. When we look at this number, 17,236, this is actually the number one sales rank on Amazon, and we sold actually quite a few of these. Let me open them. So right there, sales rank 1, and we go to the track product data, product details, and obviously the reviews, the amount of reviews also reflects. 361,000 reviews is quite the amount of reviews for an item on Amazon. So you can see that right now it's currently 1 and it's in the same category. So this is the best selling item in that category, whereas this item is the 17,000th best selling item in the category. I don't want to get too much into sales rank. I might do something on that alone. But just quickly to what I wanted to relate it to here is basically the sales rank is for the whole listing. It's for the parent ASIN. When I go over here, this is the parent ASIN. It's right. It is the same one. So as you can see, for the parent ASIN, it usually shows an option of all of them, but I'm not sure why it's not in this case. But anyways, to get back into it, so you can see all the variation ASINs under this same listing. So what is a variation? Just to quickly go over it. Each size and each color is considered a variation. So over here we have the black. Let's say we have black small. So a black small and a blue small would be considered two different variations. A black small and a black medium are also considered two different variations. So each size and color combination is considered a variation, and each you can say offer that is available. So sometimes it's not necessarily just size and color. Sometimes it's a set of 4 plates and a set of 6 plates. Those are considered two different variations. So each offer on the listing, on the parent ASIN, is considered its own ASIN, it's considered its own listing and its own variation. However, it's really important to note that this sales rank over here is not for this variation specifically. It is rather for the whole parent ASIN. What this means is that, for example, if we have a size XX large here and a size large, they're both going to have the same sales rank. But as we all know, a size large is more common than a size extra large. And that might be a little bit confusing when you see the same sales rank for both. You think that they're both performing at that capability, but rather it's important to note that the sales rank isn't a measure of that specific offer, that specific item, but rather a measure of that listing in whole. And that's specifically confusing when you're looking at, for example, size extra small, and you see, oh, it has a, let's say, 10,000 sales rank. But an item with 100,000 sales rank that's a size medium and a black color, for example, because that's more common, might be a better seller than that XX small in a purple color for men's. So that's just something with a sales rank of 10,000 per se. That's just something to keep in mind, and I'll get around how the workaround, what the workaround to determine the sales velocity for an item is in a little bit. So take this off. Over here we have the list price, which is the merchant suggested retail price for an item. And then we have over here, we have the lightning deals. So this is deals Amazon does temporarily to sell the items. You can even see that the lightning deals, they were nice. I mean, they're not too special. 63 over here, 70, 100, Amazon was 100. So they did like 30% discount. And then over here we have warehouse deals. So this is basically the used offers. Amazon offers items used. They got them, maybe lost pallets. Maybe some of the items we sent in, they found them, they reimbursed us, and they offered it themselves. New third-party FBA. This is actually, I like this much more than the regular new because this is more accurate. This, first of all, is FBA, so that means the seller is very unlikely to be a scammer because he sent his items into Amazon, so he actually has stock, for one. And for two, it includes the shipping price, so it's a more accurate depiction of what the price is. But even more and more accurate is the buy box price. And the buy box price, Amazon won't give the buy box, or very unlikely will give the buy box to just launch sellers. They'll give it to reputable sellers, FBA sellers. So we like to use this the most, actually, even more than Amazon, to depict what the accurate price is. And this is even a newer feature. I think it's been a year and a half, maybe 2 years since they launched it. I mean, Keepa's been around, I think, I don't know how long actually, but or at least 7 years, 8 years, because that's when we started. So the buy box price over here is basically the most accurate depiction of what the price actually is. And then over here you have the buy box for the used and so on and so forth. And eBay actually also tracks eBay. This is also fairly recent nonetheless. So when we determine what price of the item we can sell it at, we like to use the buy box history. So over here for this item, we can assume that we would be able to sell it anywhere from between 75 to 100. Seasonality has a lot to do with it. I mean, this is a fall, spring item, more fall. So right now is actually season September, October, depending where you live in America, maybe November. Definitely not the case for us here, but that's also a very important thing to note of so even if I wanted to go briefly into this. So you can see over here when the sales rank get lost, that usually is an indication that the rank was an A. There was something happened with the listing, it was broken. But just briefly, you can see over here that the rank is 35,000 because we were in, you can see down there, February 7th and March, and let's say even 15th, June, middle of the summer, it's a little bit more than over here. And it's going to keep getting lower I'm assuming as we go into September and October. We can even go back to the history. Over here we see let's see. So one thing to note that is actually this item is getting less popular. So in 2019 had a rank of 3,000. Right now 70,000. Newer versions may have released. Other things might have become popular. But I mean, over time, that's the case for most of the items at Amazon. The older they get, the less popular they are. Okay, so we're done with the top chart. I will go into the lower chart, which has the new offer count, the used offer count, the ratings, and the review count. So for us, out of this lower chart, we mainly like to use this new offer count. So with sales rank, let me just go to sales rank really quickly, and I'd like to go to this. for the most part in sales rank, when you see a drop like this, that usually means a sale. And I say usually means at least one sale. So as I mentioned earlier, Keepa updates every 5-10 minutes. So one drop does mean, which obviously means that the item got lower on Amazon sales rank, and it did that for a reason, because it sold. But in this drop, it may have sold 5 times, not just once. Usually in higher rank items, it's more accurate. But also, it's really important, that doesn't mean that this offer sold once. Rather, the whole listing, it might have been the black size medium sold over here, and it dropped it. Or it might have been this green lichen, but XXX large, not the XX large. And it might have been this size, of course. So that's the sales rank. However, when we go, so let me open the buy box here to relate to that. When we go over here and we put the new offer count, this shows us how many offers there have been throughout the range of the items. So you can see over here, there was only one offer, and obviously that offer was Amazon. You can see they own the buy box actually right here. And it seems that Amazon does control the buy box. It does say it right there. You can see here that we had jumped to 3 offers, and both of them went out fairly quickly back to just Amazon, even before it was 3 offers, 2 into 2 and 1 into 1. So usually when this offer chart, there's a decrease in it, that usually indicates, so what it literally indicates is that one of the offers, so there was, let's say right over here, there was 3 offers. When it became 1 over here, and now it went back up to 2, that means that 2 of the offers, so from this period to this period right here, that means that 2 of the offers basically are no longer on the list. That's literally what it means. So what that indicates usually is that they were sold. However, that's not necessarily the case. It might have been someone making a removal order for their inventory, taking their inventory off of Amazon. So because that's all what it means, is that their listing was taken off the offer. Usually that means they sold the item, someone bought it and they were off. But it could also mean that their inventory was removed from the offer. And also on the other hand, if it's not moving, so over here you can see 1, that doesn't mean no one's selling. That Amazon could have 100 items and they're selling it but they're not going to be removed off the listing because they're still going to be on the listing. But instead of 100, they sold, let's say 50 in this period. Now there's 50, but still one offer as far as Keepa is concerned. So that's why we have to determine the velocity sales of an item. It's really tough, but we do that through numerous factors. One thing we do is we see the amount of reviews. 3,000 means a lot of reviews. We look at the sales rank. The lower the sales rank, the better. We look at the offer chart. The more movement on the offer chart, the more sales the item is getting, and the more people are selling out as a general assumption. And that's the main point for that. So usually, for us, based on Keepa, we'd be able to determine how much we want to buy of an item. We usually like to use this data to determine 3 months of sales velocity. And we like to use the price that's listed here. So, for me, I can safely assume maybe I'd sell this. Worst case 67, best case 100, and we're going to the fall. I'd like to be on the more positive side, 100, and make the calculations accordingly. There's only 2 things that I have to determine: whether it's profitable, and that's fairly easy. Just put in the assumed selling price, which is a little bit difficult, especially on an item like this, because there's a variation of fluctuation of price. And then basically put the cost, and then there's many calculators. There's a free Amazon FBA calculator, RevSell. There are many tools that calculate the ROI and net profit. And then the tougher part is determining the sales velocity. And personally, if I want to determine 3 months sales velocity and order accordingly. I'd like to keep 3 months of stock of an item. That's what we do for most of the items. We're looking at hundreds of thousands of charts. It helps kind of get the opportunity of understanding what it is. It's also really important to know that different sizes have different velocities. So for example, I know automatically that I'd order more of a medium than I would of an XX large. That's common sense, but it's a little bit tougher when it's colors. It's harder. For example, you can assume that the black is fairly the most often, but let's say you're deciding between a gold and a silver for men. That's tough. But if you're deciding between a black and a pink for men, you can also assume that the black is a higher velocity. But this offer count will help you, because this is specific for this item specific. So that's really important why we like to use the offer count. I hope this information was helpful. There's so much more to get into. But one thing I'd like to leave off with is don't let the tools of Keepa and the variety of tools overwhelm you. I mean, this should be used as a weapon to help you. And honestly, most of the work can be done with these three right here: the sales rank, the buy box, and the new offer count, and a 1-year history. Most of the decisions you need to make to buy a product can be done with three tools. Don't worry if you don't know how to do the data tab yet, and the tracking and the deals. I might make videos going into how we use those, but I mean, you can still use Keepa, and for us, most of our work, most of what we use Keepa for, I'd say 80% of the time is these three right here. 1, 2, 3, and this page right here. And that's what we really use to analyze products. The rest is extra. You don't have to feel forced to get them to understand what it does. But even just learning one thing at a time is really helpful. If you have any questions, leave them below. And I hope if this was helpful, leave a like and let me know if there's anything else I can do for you. Thank you.